Hi, everybody. This is Simon here, better known as Turtle Capital on eToro. I wanted to put out a video giving a quick update of my current portfolio. There have been a number of changes lately. This is the first time I'm making a video like this. So if you do like this video, please do hit like and leave a comment, and maybe you can give me some feedback. Like I say, this is my first shot. Let me know what you'd like to see. If you're a copier right now, do also let me know if you've got any thoughts on things. But let's actually jump into my portfolio. I'm just going to screen share and let's take a look at the eToro website. So hopefully you can see my screen here. So obviously we've got this, which is my portfolio, currently 38 positions. And I just really wanted to give a bit of an update as to my current holdings. I've been selling quite a few holdings lately. I'm going to attempt to give some justification as to why I've been selling some of those holdings. And we'll have a little bit of a look at the performance as well. And probably at the end, we'll have a look at one or two charts. Just before I jump into the portfolio here, I noticed that eToro have actually given me this, which is a sort of popular investor. It's a little bit reminds me of one of those fact sheets that you get when you invest in a managed fund, and you've kind of got my returns here. So sort of January, 1 year return, 2 year return, 5 year return, annualized return, length of my track record. So that's all nice and green. So I'm definitely happy to share this with you and start on this positive note. Um, we've obviously got here my portfolio going back to October 2022 when I actually joined eToro. I have been trading for a long, long time, since really I started properly trading in 2007, 2008. So yeah, we're looking at sort of around, well, not quite 20 years yet, but a good sort of 17 sort of odd years now. So a fair amount of time. And yeah, you can obviously see my performance there. So the benchmarked against the S&P, which obviously I do try and outperform a passive S&P investment as a benchmark. Obviously, I'm primarily invested in stocks. I have been also heavily invested in crypto for a portion, just due to expecting the crypto market to outperform. But I've made some changes to that lately, which I'll discuss on this video. You can see obviously champion, number of copiers, current assets under copy. You can see my most traded, my win rate. That doesn't look very good, does it? Only 25%. I think that might be just relating to January. Maybe if we go to the last 12 months, it'll look a bit nicer. But yeah, we can see long positions. Okay, so this looks like it's probably up until January. It's a little bit better there. Who knows? At least I think the most important things is being in the green, making some profits. This is quite interesting. You can see my drawdowns. So we had a really long drawdown, April to November, quite a big one actually. I'm not a fan of these sorts of drawdowns, but I was leaning in very heavily on the crypto market, as I was very confident we had higher to go, and obviously that did pay off, and we finished the year very strongly last year. Sort of a bit more into whether I'll be doing that on the current price dips very soon. But you've got things like my beta, my Sharp ratio, etc., trainal ratio. So this is all good stuff. How I'm diversified, sector breakdown, country breakdown, etc., etc., etc. Bit more of a look into my portfolio, my monthly returns as well. So yeah, go and check that out. I can probably share that on the bottom of this video and also on the eToro post as well. I'm sure I can share a link to that. So if you guys want to take a closer look. So I thought that was quite interesting. But getting into my current holdings, obviously, I think this is produced monthly. So the data that I've just shown is up until the end of January. Obviously, we're in February. Quite a lot of major portfolio changes so far in February. And yeah, these are my current holdings, obviously by value, you've got Bitcoin as the top holding. I'm still remaining optimistic on Bitcoin and bullish on the Bitcoin narrative for the rest of 2025. I'm open to the idea that Bitcoin could actually be going into a bit more of a super cycle. It seems to be trending differently to how it's trending in the past, where, of course, in the past, we'd get a year's bear market and then we start to see some price appreciation very, very slowly. And then we'd really start to go parabolic and we'd see multiple months of upside, potentially up to sort of 7, 8, 9 months of upside in its sort of final blow off phase. And now what we seem to be seeing is sort of 1 to 2 months of upside, making a leg up, and then sort of a range forming, and Bitcoin then consolidating before taking its next leg up. It tends to be sort of taking more of a stair step approach to going higher, which is actually very, very healthy because it gives market participants the chance to enter in to the market through those consolidation phases, and then it can trend higher. These are actually patterns that you usually would associate with trending currency markets, FX markets. I used to remember one of my early trading mentors talking about where you have a market that you want to get long on. Say, for example, you're trading a currency pair, say the euro dollar, and the chart's going up, so the euro is appreciating against the dollar. What you'd be looking for is you'd be looking for a consolidation pattern to be able to enter the trade. This would typically be through some sort of bull flag or some sort of triangle or some sort of flat price action where there was a range and you'd look to enter in very, very heavily at the bottom of that range and then hold it to the breakout and pick up the next phase of markup. So potentially that is the way Bitcoin is currently behaving. I'll get into the chart a little bit later to discuss Bitcoin and where I'm looking to personally add more to my Bitcoin position. I don't think it's right to add in here. I think the risk is a little bit high because we're currently in the middle of that consolidation. But as we come to the lower end, around sort of 90,000 or maybe high 80,000s, I think is going to give us some good entries. Tesla has done fantastically well for me. Obviously, my largest stock holding up over 100%. I'm actually looking to probably add to Tesla around about the $300 mark. You can see we're at sort of 349 today. So another $50 lower. I think Tesla will be a good buy. We've also got the TLT here, which is the 20-year Treasury bond ETF. So this is US Treasury bonds. And of course, the bond prices are inverse from the bond yields. So you've probably heard a lot of talk about bond yields. They've been going absolutely mental lately, going crazy. And what I'm expecting at some point is for there to be a mean reversion, for bond yields to come down, for interest rates on the dollar to come down, and therefore bond prices to recover. So this is more of a slow burner, but it adds diversification and stability into the portfolio, and that's why I've got it as one of my core positions. Obviously, the next position down is actually a short position on XRP. So XRP, obviously one of the top cryptocurrencies. I'm really, by shorting 2.2% of my portfolio on XRP, or 2.66%, which is invested, I'm actually shorting a portion of my Bitcoin position here, or hedging a portion of my Bitcoin position here, as I'm thinking Bitcoin probably comes down over the next couple of weeks a little bit lower, reacting to certain negative macro data. That is why I've got the hedge short on XRP. I've also got some other hedge shorts on here. There's DOT. There's one or two other cryptos you'll notice on the portfolio that I'm short on. And that is really just to hedge my Bitcoin position. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin position completely and then get back in the whole position at 90,000. I would rather reduce the risk by shorting other cryptos to offset the long position. And then I will obviously release those at the time that I think Bitcoin is ready to turn around. I release the shorts and I add to my long, and then I go sort of market directional long again. So that is the thinking around those positions. MicroStrategy is obviously a beta trade on Bitcoin. So obviously it overperforms when Bitcoin goes up, it underperforms when Bitcoin goes down. At least that's what it's meant to do. absolutely incredible trade, up over 585% for me. So really happy with that as a win. We've got obviously SPY here as well. So that is of course the S&P 500 ETF, and we've got a Russell 2000 ETF, which is the more small and mid cap stocks in the US. So I'm happy to have some long exposure to stock markets. I'm also long semiconductors, AMD, which obviously is a chip maker, super microcomputer, another chip maker, Nvidia, another chip maker. So I'm long the US chip stocks, and we've got Coinbase. So obviously still long some crypto exposure. This is why I've got these hedge shorts on the portfolio currently, whilst things are a little bit uncertain. So and obviously we've got some more stocks here. I won't go through the whole portfolio. I think probably the main thing that I do want to mention is this down here. If you can see this, it's a balance of 61.69%. That is a very high cash position for me, one of the highest cash positions I've had. And I'll get into a little bit more detail as to why I've got that high cash position. But if we just look at the stat, I'll just talk through the performance, and then I will let you know what I'm planning to do with that big cash balance. Obviously, I've already given a couple of things away in terms of looking for an entry on Bitcoin. If we come down a bit further, I will be buying a bit more heavily. But you can see our performance so far for 2025 minus 13.19%. What is going on? We don't like that. So, of course, February has been a rough month so far. You can see actually, if we look back at my prior performance, the only month that was actually worse than the current month was in April of last year. So I don't actually think I've had a 1 month performance that bad anywhere else. So, of course, it goes without saying, I've raised a large cash position. Why have I raised a large cash position? It is to protect capital. That is simple as that. It's purely to protect capital. I had an idea at the start of this year that cryptocurrency was going to be extremely bullish. We would get acceleration in the cryptocurrency market throughout the first quarter of this year. Notably, I thought Ethereum was going to perform very, very well, and that has not happened. So I've been flat-footed, wrong-footed a little bit by crypto. Hence, I've been overexposed going into February, a month that I thought crypto should begin to outperform. I was expecting the market to begin to price in interest rate cuts, a shift in the Fed policy. I was expecting the dollar to start to fall, which would give a nice lift to the cryptocurrency market. And actually, crypto has been very, very disappointing. And the reason why it is struggling with market liquidity. There is just too many tokens, there's too much supply of crypto, and there's not enough people coming in to buy it. We have less Fed liquidity, we have less liquidity in the market than we did 2 years ago, back at the bear market lows. Liquidity has been going down. And of course, in situations like this, the liquidity is flowing into the strongest assets, i.e., the stock market is going into Bitcoin, but there's not that excess liquidity out there to actually go in to the rest of the crypto space. That is why crypto is struggling. So if we just look at obviously the recent data that has really impacted some of my decision making, and this is the reason really why I lightened up the portfolio a lot over the last couple of days. I just have to bear with my laptop, which likes to go slowly when I switch tabs. You can see that CPI, so CPI, obviously Consumer Price Index, this is a measure of inflation. This is the consumer side of inflation, not the purchasing side, that's PPI. But you can see CPI is coming hot. Forecast was 2.9%. Previous month was 2.9%. It's coming at 3%. No, it's not a massive jump. And look, to be completely honest with you, as long as inflation is anything between 2% and 4%, that is okay. Things are not breaking. So let's just be honest, things are not breaking right now. So what I'm trying to say is this isn't a death sentence in itself, the fact that we have inflation at 3%, but it is a problem for assets that require excess liquidity to perform, i.e., altcoins. Now, I don't think the stock market is going to worry too much about this. I don't think Bitcoin is going to worry too much about this. But altcoins need cheaper capital. They need interest rate cuts and they need excess liquidity. And the Federal Reserve cannot put excess liquidity into the market. It cannot stop quantitative tightening whilst inflation is rising. And obviously, if this keeps on going up, this is going to be a big problem for the crypto, the rest of the crypto bull run, the rest of 2025 for the crypto market. So we just have to be very, very mindful of that. And when I saw inflation was coming in higher, I said, okay, it's time to de-risk. It's time to take off some of those leverage long positions, or not leverage, some of those long positions on cryptos. I mean, personally, I had to get out of some leverage longs as well over the last couple of weeks, and to put on some hedge shorts, because it's important for me right now, with crypto really being so rotational between different sectors, to be delta neutral, to be completely neutral on the altcoin space. So I'm long Bitcoin, but I'm neutral on cryptos. There's a couple of cryptos that I still think can perform in these conditions, which I'm long, but I don't want to be long everything. And there's others that I think will struggle, ones with higher inflation, ones with token unlocks, etc., that I think are just not going to have the demand coming in to buy up that supply. And if I take you over to this tweet that I actually shared the other day, this is just going to visualize what I've been talking about when it wants to load. Right, here we go. So, top base layers will have $6 billion worth of unlocks in the next 180 days. So, this for me, as a visual, this really, really captures the issue really well with crypto right now. We've got just too much token supply. There's too many tokens. And even if, because I've heard the argument, well, most of those tokens are useless, so no one's going to buy those tokens anyway. There might be however many millions tokens, but those tokens are like penny stocks. Like, as long as you focus on the top tokens, they're good to buy, they're good to hold. But actually, these are the top tokens. Sol, Sui, these are arguably the top two L1s of this bull run, and they've got massive unlocks, and so have all the others. So it's very, very, very difficult to get overly bullish or overly exposed to these tokens, any of these tokens. And by the way, I think Sui is a fantastic ecosystem, fantastic layer one, probably the best crypto we've got in terms of usability, in terms of potential for the future. Sui obviously is, dubbed the Solana killer, the next Solana, with its programming language, which apparently is more favorable. Obviously, Sol is programmed on Rust, Sui on Move. People tend to like Move. So, look, I think these two are fantastic projects and ones I want exposure to. But in the current market conditions, with the amount of unlocks that are going to be happening and the fact there's no easy money flying around, then this is something I've got to take into consideration. And it's very, very difficult for me to be overly bullish or overly exposed long to the cryptocurrency sector. There's just too much dilution. And I mean, you've just got to really preserve capital and preserve risk, because believe you me, if the situation does change and we start to see more money coming into the space, if we see volume starting to pick up, this is another chart here that I just want to share. This will be the last one, by the way, just on the sort of case for cryptocurrency, or should I say why I've lightened up on cryptocurrency. Um, but I can start to explain what this is whilst it loads up. This is showing the volumes. This is the daily exchange volumes, and the volume is just not there right now. We're just not getting the uptick in volume that we need to see to really, really send this market parabolic, to send this market higher here. So we can see here, this is where we currently are. We're actually in a downtrending currently in volume. So that's absolutely not what we want to see. And this is a comparison to the last cycle. As you can see, we were uptrending. At no point did we go into a downtrend. I mean, that's not really a downtrend, is it? There's no lower high in there. So yeah, we were just ramping up. I mean, can you compare it to down here? Possibly, but you would expect this to really be ramping up right now, and it's just not. And I just don't think the interest is there, guys. You know, blockchain. Oh, I've lost my screen for a minute. Blockchain is no longer like the new thing. It's no longer the hot thing to invest in. It's no longer that asset class that people are getting attracted into. Most people have heard about it already, I'm sorry to say. And I just think it needs a catalyst. There needs to be a catalyst to really get this market going again. And look, when we see that catalyst, I'll be jumping straight back into the market. You can definitely believe me. But unfortunately, we don't have it right now. So hopefully my laptop is going to allow me to finish this video. Just a couple of more things to share. I did promise there would be just a couple of charts at the end of this video to look at. So let's see if they want to load up or not. If not, we will probably have to save this for next time. So it looks like it's trying to. Obviously, there's no guesses for what I'll be doing at the weekend. Definitely a bit of laptop shopping is needed because this one cannot handle what I am doing with it. Right. Okay. So I was hoping this would load up. I'm going to see if I can force it to load up again. Let's just see if we can refresh it. Let's see if it will load. Okay. So this here, this essentially all of this calculation is showing net Fed liquidity. So we can see we had obviously Fed liquidity very, very high in 2021. This coincided with the sort of cycle top last time we were in crypto. Came all the way down again. Obviously, that money that came in pushed us way up, mainly due to the pandemic. Came out the market, markets crashed, everything corrected, and since then we've just really been going sideways. We've tried to tick up. Indeed, it has looked like in periods that we would tick up back in early 2023, obviously end of 2022. That's when we put in the low in the crypto market, and we saw this nice uptick. We got further upticks around the end of 2023, so that was obviously 1 year ago when we saw crypto start to do well. And since then, we've just been trending down. And whilst this is trending down, the cryptocurrency market as a whole is really going to struggle. So, yeah, there's just not the liquidity right now in the market. And obviously, if we continue to go down, I just think the altcoin space will especially continue to bleed out. Maybe Bitcoin can hold on, but it's just not looking good right now. And it's just too risky and it's too reckless for me to put not just my money, but your money into the crypto market with an absence of liquidity. So, yeah, that's what I want to say about that. In terms of a couple of ideas that I've got or things that I'm looking to position into, obviously, this one here is the US 100 cash. It's basically the NASDAQ 100. See if I can get, don't think it's that chart. I think it's this chart I wanted. Yeah. So we can see here just on the weekly time frame, we had resistance. We now flip that to support. So resistance has become support. We're trading above that, starting to consolidate at our all-time highs. And what I'm really looking for to get more aggressively long on the NASDAQ is for a breakout of these highs here. So you can see intraday currently, we're above this descending trend line. This is good. This is what I want to see. What I really want to see to get long is a close above this trend line, and then we should start to mark up higher. So I am looking to position more heavily into the Nasdaq. I'll probably do that through the QQQ ETF. I do already have a very, very small holding of that, but I will look to be adding to that if we break out and start to go higher. And of course, the other one I already talked about a little bit earlier was Bitcoin as well. So if we just go over to the Bitcoin chart, you're going to see I've got a path on this chart in terms of where I believe the price is likely to go. So as you can see right now, we are really just going sideways. We're in this range, very, very similar to what we saw back in the summer of last year when we were in a range, we're in a very long range there and a wide range as well. Obviously, this one so far a bit shorter, a bit tighter, around about sort of $10,000, $15,000 each way between 90K and sort of 105, 108, so about an $18,000 range. What I'm expecting really here is for price to probably come down and sweep the liquidity at the bottom of this range. This is where big money looks to enter when they actually have sort of some liquidity to actually get into the market with big positions. So, we can see traces of this happening already here. Obviously, a big sell-off, a lot of people getting stopped out, a lot of people selling, a lot of people panicking, and then we get this massive reversal because big money drives us up and steps into the market and pushes us all the way back up. That's what I'm expecting likely to happen here coming into the high 80s. And from there, if we actually see that, if we then manage to regain this trend line around about sort of 92, 92,500, then I'd be expecting us to probably mark up into the middle of the year. And when this happens, altcoins probably do get a bounce as well. So if we get this move, I will be looking to probably take some additional altcoin long positions. I'll close my altcoin shorts, and again, they're just going to be beta trades to the Bitcoin trade. Obviously, I think the important thing is just to be very selective as to what you buy right now. Not all altcoins are the same. Try to buy quality. Try to buy altcoins without big unlocks coming, and yeah, I mean, for me at these prices down here below 90,000, I think crypto risk reward wise is worthwhile getting involved with. Like I say, Nasdaq confirmation on the breakout, that becomes then a trade I'm interested in getting involved with. There's no reason to rush into the market, and I know with my current performance for this year, it'd be very, very easy for me to turn around and say, well, you know what, I really want to get profitable again this year. I'm going to just chuck on a bunch of trades on all sorts of cryptocurrencies and all sort of high risk stocks to just try and make that loss back straight away. And that's the worst thing you can do as a trader, by the way. You have to manage risk, you have to be disciplined, and you just have to realize I have complete confidence that more opportunities will present themselves over the course of this year. There's no need for me to chase. There's no need for me to jump back in with half of my portfolio tomorrow. I'm taking my time, and when I see the opportunity to get into this market more aggressively, I will do it. And of course, I have no doubt that this loss can be recovered within a month, within a good month for me. Okay, let's there's plenty of the year left, so yeah, it's obviously going to be a challenge to post up a good performance, a good return, similar to the one I've seen in the last couple of years. But that's what I like. I like a challenge. This is what I do, and yeah, I still think 2025 is going to be a huge year, loads of opportunities to make money. But I think, yeah, I'm worried about crypto, and I think, my current thoughts are it's not worth getting into right now at these current prices. If things drop a bit more, and like I say, if we see a slight change in terms of the conditions, then potentially I will re-add some exposure and obviously ride that high. I mean, if crypto's going up, I'll definitely be involved in it and maximizing that opportunity if the opportunity's there. Okay. So I'm going to finish it there. Obviously, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. It's probably going to be the start of many more. I'd like to do this probably on a monthly basis or quarterly basis. I'll see how things go. I'll see what everybody's feedback is like. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and happy trading, and I'll talk to you all again very soon.